Navigating chemical imports. Welcome back to our channel, where we discuss all things related to customs brokerage, customs bonds, importer security filing, ISF, and international trade. In this video, we will provide you with a comprehensive guide on importing chemicals and hazardous materials into the U.S. If you're involved in importing these goods, it's crucial to understand the regulations and requirements to ensure smooth trade operations. Let's dive in. Classifying chemicals and hazardous materials. Proper classification is the foundation of importing chemicals and hazardous materials. Determine the correct harmonized system, HS, code for each item to ensure accurate documentation and compliance with regulations. Understanding regulatory agencies. Importing chemicals and hazardous materials requires compliance with various regulatory bodies, such as the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, the Department of Transportation, DOT, and the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA. Familiarize yourself with their rules and guidelines. Licensing and permits. Certain chemicals and hazardous materials may require specific licenses or permits for importation. Research and obtain the necessary licenses or permits from the applicable regulatory agencies before importing. Safety data sheets, SDS. Safety data sheets provide crucial information about the properties, hazards, and safe handling of chemicals and hazardous materials. Obtain and review SDS for all imported goods to ensure proper handling, storage, and transportation. Packaging and labeling. Chemicals and hazardous materials must be packaged and labeled in compliance with regulatory requirements. Ensure that containers are properly sealed, labeled with appropriate hazard warnings, and meet packaging standards to prevent leaks or accidents. Transportation considerations. Transporting chemicals and hazardous materials involves following specific regulations set by the DOT. Familiarize yourself with proper packaging, markings, labeling, and documentation requirements for various modes of transportation, such as air, sea, or land. Importer security filing, ISF, requirements. Compliance with ISF regulations is crucial when importing chemicals and hazardous materials. Ensure that all required information is submitted accurately and within the specified timeframe, as per the 10+2 rule. Additional data by arrival. For chemicals and hazardous materials, additional information such as the specific product name, quantity, and item package types must be submitted to U.S. Customs and Border Protection, CBP, within 24 hours prior to the vessel's arrival. Compliance with trade regulations. Chemicals and hazardous materials may be subject to additional trade regulations, such as anti-dumping or countervailing duty measures. Stay updated with trade regulations enforced by the U.S. International Trade Commission, USITC, and the U.S. Department of Commerce to ensure compliance. Customs brokerage services. Given the complexities of importing chemicals and hazardous materials, working with a reputable customs broker experienced in handling these specific goods is highly recommended. They can assist with classification, documentation, compliance, and navigating the import process. Customs bond requirements. Depending on the type and quantity of chemicals and hazardous materials imported, a customs bond may be required. A customs bond serves as a financial guarantee to ensure compliance with customs regulations and covers any potential obligations. Types of customs bonds. There are two primary types of customs bonds: continuous bonds and single-entry bonds. Continuous bonds are suitable for frequent importers, while single-entry bonds are used for occasional shipments. Determine the appropriate bond type for your import operations. Importer security filing, ISF, bond. In addition to a customs bond, an ISF bond may be required for compliance with ISF regulations. An ISF bond acts as a financial guarantee to meet ISF requirements and covers potential penalties or fines associated with non-compliance. Compliance audits and inspections. CBP and other regulatory agencies periodically conduct compliance audits and inspections for imported chemicals and hazardous materials. Maintain accurate records, keep up to date with regulations, and ensure proper filing and labeling to prepare for such audits. Record keeping and reporting. Maintain detailed records of all imported chemicals and hazardous materials, including invoices, bills of lading, SDS, customs entries, and any other relevant documents. Report any changes, amendments, or incidents pertaining to the imported goods as required by regulatory agencies. Risk assessment and hazard mitigation. Conduct a thorough risk assessment for the chemicals and hazardous materials being imported. Implement appropriate hazard mitigation practices, such as proper storage, handling, and emergency response measures, to ensure the safety of personnel and the environment. Training and safety procedures. Ensure that personnel involved in importing, handling, or transporting chemicals and hazardous materials receive appropriate training on safety procedures, emergency response protocols, and the proper use of personal protective equipment, PPE. Collaboration with freight forwarders and carriers. Maintain open communication with freight forwarders and carriers handling your chemical and hazardous materials shipments. Provide them with all necessary information, including packaging, labeling, and documentation requirements, to ensure safe transportation. Staying informed and updated. Stay informed about changes in regulations, trade policies, and safety guidelines related to chemicals and hazardous materials imports. Regularly check official government websites, industry publications, and participate in relevant training programs. Thank you for watching. We hope this comprehensive guide on importing chemicals and hazardous materials into the U.S. has been informative and helpful. Remember to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell for future videos on customs brokerage, customs bonds, ISF, and international trade. Stay tuned for more valuable content, and if you have any specific topics you'd like us to cover, please let us know. Until next time.